Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network with Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams. Happy to have you along on this Monday edition of the program. For some reason, I wanted to say Tuesday, Wednesday. I want to get further ahead in the week, I guess.
Well, probably because we got a big schedule set for this week. But, don't want to get going too fast. We've got a lot to discuss from this past weekend.
We do. We have a lot of things to get to. A lot of sports took place over the past 72 hours, dating back to Friday. We've got football to get into, Don, and I think that's probably where we need to open things up because we did have a whole lot of football throughout this area, although not as many games because the SEC had their bye week, although there was just a couple of games that took place in the SEC, but everybody else got off and running, and we had plenty of FCAC stuff back in action as well.
We did, starting with Trinity Catholic beating Ridgefield 26-21, a game we covered. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Also, in Trumbull, I don't know if you would call it an upset, but probably the most compelling storyline of the week, Trumbull 28, Greenwich 23. That really complicates that FCAC East Division race and sets up some really good games a little bit later on this season.
Yeah, we saw the Trinity Catholic Ridgefield game on Friday. We'll get to the highlights of that in a little bit. Also, some of the unfortunate stories that came out of it. One for sure that still is kind of developing. But that Trumbull Greenwich game, that's the one that I keep coming back to, Don.
It really, it's one of those you just sort of felt the earth move a little bit because, Trumbull was having a good season. Greenwich, as we know, with a new coach, a little bit down this year. When Trumbull beat Greenwich, that did a couple of things. First of all, it established that the FCAC championships now will go through Staples, Darien, New Canaan, and not Greenwich. But it also sets up a great matchup in a couple of weeks now. That Trumbull-New Canaan game on November 6th is looking like that could really shake things up in the FCAC.
Yeah, there are a couple of games now that look like they're going to be on our broadcast schedule. That Trumbull-New Canaan game is still in the mix. We may have a pick-a-game option on that weekend, but we'll have Staples and Darien here as we kind of flex some things around, so we'll have that on our broadcast schedule.
That's likely for the West Division championship.
I don't think without a doubt. I can't see either team getting tripped up between now and that date.
It doesn't look like it. So that game is on the 14th, Staples versus Darien. The winner will take, I said the West Division, I meant the East Division. Mm-hmm. The winner will take the East Division. And then the week before, New Canaan 4-0 versus Trumbull 3-1. The winner of that game in the driver's seat for first place in the West Division. So a lot of action still to come in the FCAC football season.
But as we ran through the scores, really a bunch of blowouts in the mix. Norwalk all over Central by 43. Yes, Trinity beat Ridgefield by 5, but some of that was too little, too late. Trumbull beat Greenwich by 5 as well, but on the other side, you've got Darien by 32 over McMahon, St. Joe's over Wilton 35-0, and Staples over Stamford 35-0 to go along with a couple of games on Saturday in the FCAC. New Canaan, that was 42-0 before Danbury even had a chance. The Hatters just can't seem to get things going this year, no matter what 48-7 final score. The best game from a pure competition standpoint was probably Ludlow-West Hill, which was a missed extra point difference. West Hill able to score. In fact, I saw the footage of the play this morning that West Hill scored on. A Ludlow defender fell down, and the West Hill receiver caught it, went into the end zone for the touchdown, but they missed the extra point, so 7-6 the final score.
Big win for Ludlow. They had gotten off to a disappointing start, and there were some rumblings coming out of Ludlow, but they seemed to really refocus on their bye week, and they came out, got a big win. Maybe they turned their season around.
Rumblings of firing an assistant coach?
I don't know about that. No,
I'm only kidding. Yeah. I'm only kidding. We know an assistant coach, and we love him dearly. We're just having a little fun. No rumblings came out. Always, and we're going to do Oregon sports later on if you saw Coffee Break this morning. But anyway, as we bring it back around to all of this, some other scores from the region. Ansonia over Holy Cross 47-0. Derby over Kennedy 33-7. Oxford 27, Sacred Heart Caner Tech 7, and Seymour over Wilby 49-6. Also Fairfield Prep beat Amity 42-7, and Brantford over Sheehan 25-12. So some of the scores around this region.
Some of the scores, and it's for Fairfield Prep, they're 3-2, 12th place in the Class LL rankings. The top 8 schools make the state playoffs. It's not out of the question they could find their way into those Class LL playoffs. Now their schedule is not going to help them, but it does give them a chance to play themselves in. They've got North Haven, Hamden, Wilbercross, Xavier, West Haven. So obviously, lots of potential trips along the way. But if they can manage the schedule, they've got a shot. I wouldn't say a good shot, but a puncher's chance is what they can do. The other thing that was interesting is those Class S rankings. You mentioned Ansonia, a lot of those other schools. Trinity Catholic right now sits in 6th place in Class S. If the playoffs were started today, the Crusaders were in. And it's always the question with Trinity in Class S. It's and playing in the FCIAC, it's essentially David having to navigate 10 Goliaths as they go through their schedule. And we always wonder, how would Trinity do if they could ever make the Class S playoffs? How would they stack up against Ansonia or the Granbys and Morgans of the world? And we've never really had a chance to find out. We may get a chance this year. Trinity is 3-1 with a favorable schedule the rest of the way.
They do. They have a pretty decent schedule down the stretch. Only the Stanford Black Knights really, to me, stand in the way of them right now. That'd be my only game of concern. But, as for kind of the haves and the have-nots, you think about, of course, Darien and New Canaan at the top. Darien with Hudson Hamill playing not just Hamill, who we have a picture of that we can throw up, but, beyond Hamill, you've got all these other guys, Graham and all those, Mark Ivanchik setting the sack record. All of these players who are so good as you get a look at Hamill right now. I mean, Hudson Hamill is so multifaceted. He can return a punt for you. He can run for you. There was that play earlier in the year where Graham got blindsided, ball rolled to Hamill, and Hamill did the rest down the sideline. So you're talking about a multifaceted football team that can do so much on so many levels. And as we said, McMahon losing to Darien, the Blue Wave winning 42-10 the other night. And then there's New Canaan. And again, the Rams just dominant. There's a shot that I included of the Rams as well, and you see it right now. Just again, they just took it to the Hatters, and they just kept scoring. And the Rams, like the Blue Wave, are going to pour it on up until the point that they know they've got it in play, they know they've got the game, and then they pull back the reins for the obvious reason of the 50-point rule, and you get a look at New Canaan's always intriguing uniforms with the camouflage within the numbers. I mean, one thing about the Rams that you can never complain about Darien's uniforms. They give you enough options for sure. Whether you like them or not is a whole matter of taste at that point.
Right. And you wonder how good New Canaan is. Their schedule right now has been sort of kind of a mixed bag. Ridgefield, Central, West Hill, Danbury. They've got Greenwich this week, then Norwalk, and then of course, as we said, the showdown against Trumbull. Then Ludlow, and obviously the Turkey Bowl versus Darien on Thanksgiving. Now, what's interesting this year is that, as we've been mentioning, New Canaan remains in Class L, their traditional rival Darien, along with Staples and Greenwich in Class L. So the door could be wide open for the Rams. At least they won't have any other FCIAC teams to contend with on their way to the Class L playoffs.
Let's go back to the Ridgefield Trinity Catholic game. That's the game we had on Friday night. And, the Rams the Tigers had their moments in this game, especially as their quarterback, when the Trinity Catholic's quarterback, Anthony Lombardi, went down. In fact, we've got footage of the touchdown and what we think is the play that he got injured on. This took place on Friday night. And it just looked like he hits his shoulder hard as he goes into the end zone as we get a look at it here. He was waiting in shotgun, so many run it that way, and he just runs it up the middle. Now watch here. Watch the shoulder, boom, right there. And
yeah, he kind of went airborne, which is usually they tend to avoid injuries when they go airborne because you don't want to be connected to the ground when you get hit. And he came down hard on that left shoulder.
And you can just kind of get a glance at him kind of holding that left arm gingerly. I mean,
he also kind of stayed down for a couple seconds. He didn't pop right back up like they usually do after they score.
No, very little excitement about this score. Watch it again as he goes in, gets the hit, boom, down he goes. And a lot of high school players, more often than not, they're going to be excited. They're not going to spike the ball because that's a penalty, but they are going to come up and say, "Hey, I've scored." I mean, you're entitled to feel a little excitement. So as the Packers, the Crusaders score there, and those uniforms are great, by the way.
They are.
They
great.
really are beautiful.
That is a great color scheme.
So, but the story came out, and I'll give Dave Rudin credit for it because I saw he was the first to mention it. Lombardi, we knew Lombardi had injured his shoulder. We knew that from our own Dave Stewart on Friday night. And again, Chris Irway and I on the call are always going to take the very cautious approach of talking about it. But what we found out through Dave Rudin, who spoke to Trinity Catholic head coach Donnie Panipata, a slight shoulder separation with no MRI needed and no timetable for his return.
Right. So essentially, if you're listening at home, day to day would be the way to look at that. I mean, you hope for the best. You wait to see how long it takes for the swelling to go down.
With no disrespect to John Michael Bavona or any of the other talented Trinity Catholic players who I wanted to see, I really wanted to see Anthony Lombardi play. I was happy to see him for a few minutes, but boy, I'm sorry to see that he got hurt.
Right. I mean, and especially with a school like Trinity, a small school, as the coach said, and you'll hear that in a few minutes. The other team is always going to have the bigger, better athletes and more of them, but the Trinity players have heart. And and watching him throw the ball, he can sling it.
And by the way,
back to this special edition of Nutmeg Sports.
Be quiet, Rob. I just pulled this up here.
That
was me. As I had a chance to just now, this is fresh off the griddle, pulling off the HAN Network FCAC Athlete of the Week nominations. Want to go through them quickly?
Sure thing.
And then we'll get into the highlights from Friday night's game. All right, we'll start with the ladies. Ellery Barron of New Canaan Field Hockey is up for FCAC Athlete of the Week on the ladies' side. Veronica O'Rourke of St. Joe's Soccer. Emily Berzola, Greenwich Girls Soccer. In fact, it is almost an entirely all-soccer group. Paisley Egan of Wilton Girls Soccer. Chelsea Domond of West Hill Girls Soccer. Kat Culleton of Darien Field Hockey. Jenna Bike of St. Joe's Girls Soccer, so from St. Joseph, Jenna Bike, and Anna Glovin from Fairfield Ward Girls Soccer. So best of luck to all of them. These are just coming across now. So
right, just a few dozen votes so far.
Yep.
Up on the website.
Bring us the men.
Well, for the boys, we've got Michael Cognetta. It's going to be a pretty heavy football and soccer list. Cognetta of New Canaan football, they won 48-7 over Danbury. 9 rushes, 121 yards. And 3 receptions for 31 yards. Also, Michael Collins, another New Canaan football player, the senior quarterback, threw 6 touchdown passes.
So good.
John Michael Bavona of Trinity Catholic, 147 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception on defense as the Crusaders beat Ridgefield. Paul Statsfrom, Ludlow football, senior linebacker and tight end, was the key player as Ludlow got their first win of the year over West Hill. Hudson Hamill of Darien caught 2 touchdown passes and also ran back a fumble for a score in Darien's 42-10 win over McMahon. And finally, we have, Jack Brandt, Wilton Boys Soccer, scored on a corner kick with about 6.5 to go to give the Warriors a 2-1 win over Staples. Christian Treves, St. Joseph football, 238 yards on 22 carries and scored a touchdown in every quarter of the Cadets' 35-0 road win over Wilton High School. And finally, Johnny McElroy, Trumbull Eagles football. He completed 7 straight passes on Trumbull's opening drive and scored 4 touchdowns as Coach Bob Maffei's Eagles defeated Greenwich 28-23. So good luck to all the boys out there, some football and some soccer players. And, we'll tally them up and we'll bring it to you on FCAC Tailgate.
A mere 85 votes already in, Don, and Johnny McElroy leading the way early on. So Johnny McElroy is the first one out of the gate on the boys' side. On the ladies' side, it's Paisley Egan with just a 1-vote lead right now, and this is on Monday. Obviously, we'll make the announcement on Saturday. So get the voting going, and again, I mentioned this on one of last week's programs. The ladies have been doing a better job of getting the vote out. So guys, you got to step up your game this week.
I think a lot of those votes are from guys.
Probably.
Yes, that's just my impression. High school boys,
Leaving that right there. Let's get to the highlights from Friday night's football game. As you saw right here on the HAN Network, it was Trinity Catholic and the Ridgefield Tigers. Chris Irway and I had the call right here on the HAN Network. With a man in motion. It looked like it might have been a little jet sweep coming, but instead it goes up the middle right to the goal line looking for a call for Bavona, and he's got it. Touchdown. A delayed call, but a 6-yard touchdown run. They wanted to make sure he broke the plane. He did, and the Crusaders just had their way, making it right down the line for the first 6 of the night. With a lone setback, Bavona uses play action. Deep ball right side, adjusting, and caught beautifully, almost breaking a tackle down into Ridgefield territory at the 37-yard line. Beautifully done to Isaiah Sanders. He looked like Jerry Rice making the over-the-shoulder catch. It's a solid 3rd and 4 in a 6-0 game, under 5 to go first quarter, receivers to each side. Giving it off again, trying the left side. Oh, making the turn outside the numbers into the end zone for the touchdown goes Nick Malia. They're ready again, quickly, down near the 7. Rolling, Fowler fires right, has a man, Longo to the goal line. Touchdown Tigers. Takes it and gives it, fakes it to Bavona. Now he rolls right, deep ball, Sanders adjusting, catch made at the 14. Push the defender out of the way. That was Will Carpenter on the coverage, but it's a first down. 14-7 lead, shotgun snap. They go to the ground with Lombardi, who does get tripped up but tumbles into the end zone. Touchdown Crusaders.
And we've talked about Lombardi's arm for, every game he's played. I mean, he throws the ball consistently well. One of the things that he also does very well is run the football, especially out of the read option. You give it to John Michael Bavona the entire first quarter.
5 receivers total. Showing blitz are the Crusaders. Good protection and dropped in and caught by Longo along the hash marks into the end zone. Touchdown Ridgefield. In shotgun on 4th down. Here they come. Gonna throw it. Left side, climbing the ladder, Johnny Somers. He's got it. Touchdown. Good snap. Bavona is gonna run with it. And he's taken down at the 14-yard line.
I don't know if that was a play call. Was that designed from Coach Panapata, or was that just John Michael Bavona seeing that there was a heavy rush? I am in shock right now. Ridgefield with still 2 minutes to go, back in business in the red zone.
Ball down. It's at the 24. Looking to throw. Fowler left. Jump ball. Looking like it's intercepted. Now looking like somebody's got it. Let's put it that way. It's a catch and a first down for Ridgefield.
I honestly, Rob, I don't know how Colin Lowe came up with that football. It looked like an easy interception for Trinity Catholic, and it must have got jumbled around. And
now the approach. Here it comes. And they put it right into the arms of an up man at the 44. Now, of course, they're all going to push and shove, and we're going to watch. Ooh, and watch out there.
Ooh, that was an official.
Boy, oh boy. That was, I believe, was that Granada? Yes, it was.
Wow.
Granada almost spun around.
And almost made contact with the official, which would have gotten him ejected.
So the Crusaders get the win. They improve to 3-1 on the year, 2-2 now for the Tigers, and the Tigers just have to focus on the rest of the season. Probably, in all reality, playoff hopes. Once you're at 2 losses and you're a double L school and you're an FCAC school, you're in danger. You're pretty much on the fringe at that point.
Right. Ridgefield now with a record of 2-2. They are tied for 4th place in the West Division. The problem is they've got a lot of schools ahead of them. Trinity now at 3-1. Technically, they're still in that West Division race. The problem is, again, New Canaan is 4-0 ahead of them, and Trumbull is also at 3-1. Now, those 2 schools play each other, so depending on the outcome of that game, that could help determine Trinity's fate in that West Division. But as we mentioned earlier, Trinity in very good shape as far as the Class S playoffs go. That
is absolutely very true. Before we take a break, let us hear from the head football coach at Trinity Catholic High School. We had him on FCAC Game Day on Friday. And let me tell you something before we get into this, and you'll hear me ask him about it in a matter of speaking. I knew Donnie Panapata when he was an assistant coach under Richie Albanizio at Greenwich High School. In fact, I went and saw Coach Al the other night. Really nice to see someone who I've known a long time now and seems really happy as an assistant at Trinity Catholic now for Donnie Panipata. But I knew Donnie years ago, and that was in that whole time where Greenwich went through that infamous loss to West Haven, the smashing of a trophy and all that other stuff, not worth revisiting. But he'll tell you exactly how he has come along. And Richie Albanese said that same thing to me before the game Friday night, that Donnie Panipata has come a long way. He's a good dude, and I was happy to have a chance to have this conversation with him. Dave Stewart and I chatted with him on Friday. Here it is.
Back to FCAC Game Day on the HAN Network, getting ready for Trinity Catholic and the Ridgefield Tigers at 7 o'clock. And we've got another guest now. The head football coach of the Crusaders is Donnie Panipata. Coach, good to see you.
Nice to see you, too. Thanks for covering this game tonight.
It's our pleasure. I think it's going to be a terrific game. I think both of your teams look great. And you guys started off with a tough game against Greenwich, but you hung in there in that game. Let's go back to that one to get started.
Well, yeah, we did. We actually played a pretty good defense in the second half, only giving up one touchdown. There was a lot of positives we took out of it. We didn't play our best game, I could tell you that. And, we're yet to play our best game, to be honest with you, moving on to the Norwalk game and the Trumbull game. So we're excited to get back out there tonight. The bye week was a little different for us, so I'm excited to see how the kids react to that.
I think it was your first year, 0-11, I believe, and then the next year won 7 games, and I think doubled your point total. And I know you've got Lombardo in there. Yep. What else changed from one year to the next?
Well, the first year, and I said it plenty of times, we went 0-11, but we were doing a lot of good things.
Okay.
We were a little thin, but we were trying to install a winning tradition. And we came close. 4 games we lost, by less than 6 points. And then, another whole off season. And, Anthony Lombardi came in, and Coach Drayson, who's our offensive coordinator, who was from Richfield, he was at Staples before, came in, has done a nice job with our offense, and we just hope to keep it going.
Talk a little bit about Anthony, too, what he's done. 1,600 yards passing last year, 21 touchdowns. What does he bring to the team?
He's a great kid. He's a great leader, competitor, fierce competitor, okay? Has heart. On top of it, he's a very good quarterback with a great athletic skill set. He could run the ball, he could throw the ball. He's strong in the weight room when it comes down to that. Big film guy. He's a college quarterback.
Okay.
And, we're happy to have him at Trinity Catholic.
Great addition to the program, Absolutely. Definitely.
Coach, you and I both hung around Greenwich High in the early 2000s. You were an assistant under Rich Albanese. I was a young broadcaster as well. Well, not exactly young. But anyway, we were both there. What did you learn then, and what has changed about you from then to now?
Well, I don't know if much has changed. I'm a little calmer, maybe. I grew up a little bit, or I got a little older. But, I'm still a fierce competitor. I learned a lot from Coach Albanese and Coach Cairo, and they're with me now, which is great. But we do things the same way. We talk to the kids about competing. It's about, energy, effort, and execution. Same thing way it was back then with the wing tee we used to run. It's football's pretty simple when it comes down to it. And if you have effort, energy, and execution, you do pretty well.
And there was always a culture with Coach Al that, he had his eye on the kids. He had the kids' heart, in his mind. Do you bring that same kind of thing? Is that the kind of stuff you've brought over to Trinity Catholic?
Absolutely. Family. We talk about family a lot. There's shirts printed up at the beginning of the year, and in the back of them it says family. And we talk about it because we're one big family. Of course, that started with Coach Al, back in his Trinity days when I played for him. And we were the same way at Greenwich. But Trinity's the same thing. It's about family. So, I always tell the kids, you're stronger like this or like this. And this is how a family should be. So.
Richie's a great guy, and just how quickly did the kids take to him here?
Quickly. Yeah. I spoke about him in the past.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So they knew who he was. They didn't really get to meet him, but in my first year there at Trinity 2 years ago, the 0-11 season, we played, and at Trinity, and we played Greenwich, and they got the better of us. And he came over and asked if he could address the kids after right after the game, which is a classy move. Richie's a classy guy. So they were a little familiar with him, and, we're glad to have him. That's for sure. And, I get parents every week that say, oh, Coach Al this, Coach Al, and Coach Cairo, and they're doing a great job, and the kids really have, bonded with them.
It's remarkable to get that type of knowledge into a program like that.
Absolutely, that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? And I have a great staff, and with the addition of them two guys, it's phenomenal.
I was looking at your schedule today, and the thing that stands out, you guys are in Class S. I think everybody on your schedule is double L. That helps you in terms of bonus points if you can get the wins. But how do you approach that? Because it is kind of like an us against them type of thing.
Absolutely, that's what it is. And we actually play 8 double Ls and 1 L. Wilton is an L team, and we use that. We're one of the smallest schools in the state of Connecticut, but I tell the kids you can't measure what's in here. And Trinity Catholic, that's what we have. We may not be the biggest, we may not be the smartest, although we got some smart kids. That helps too. We may not have the biggest numbers, but we got this, and heart goes a long way. And we're here to compete with everybody, all the big boys.
That's half the battle, right? And with the heart.
I'm sure it's week to week and not worrying about playoffs or anything like that right now, right?
Right now I'm worried about 7 o'clock. Okay, 7 o'clock. Richfield's a very good football team, talented, big school again, very good on the offense and defensive lines, very aggressive. It's going to be a challenge for us tonight, especially coming off the bye week, but we're excited about the opportunity.
It should be. I really think it's going to be a good game. That's why I was telling you off the air we decided to cover this one, and I'm looking forward to it. And I haven't had a chance. I don't think I've had a chance to see you call a game with you in it, so I'm excited. It's going to be a good night.
I hope it is.
I hope it is as well. Coach, thanks so much. Dave and I take a break. Donnie Panipata, head football coach here at Trinity Catholic. Not here. We're here at Ridgefield, but they're playing at 7 o'clock. We take a break. We come back. More FCAC Game Day right after this on the HAN Network.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances, where community comes first, a place where there's more than one kind of interest, where automation will never replace consideration, where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Tired of all the bull? Relax and enjoy the experience of buying a car at Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram. No bull allowed.
Kycote Rockefeller Estate is Westchester County's top cultural attraction and is now open for the season. Don't miss out. Go online to hudsonvalley.org to plan your visit. Take a drive out to beautiful Sleepy Hollow, New York, and enjoy Kycote's stunning architecture, breathtaking gardens, expansive art galleries, and commanding Hudson River views. From world-class art by Picasso and Warhol to expertly tended gardens, there's something for everyone. Kycote Rockefeller Estate, a National Trust for Historic Preservation landmark.
Have no fear. HAN Network's Fast Frights movie contest is here. Can your film make the cut? Submit your 3-minute scary movie today for a chance to win a DJI Phantom 3 drone, sponsored by Milford Photo. The only thing to fear is missing the deadline.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
The fall bite is heating up. Albies, bonita, blackfish, alligator blues, and stripers are following the large schools of bait in the Long Island Sound. This is the time to visit the New England coast, and the Dock Shop can get you outfitted with the latest fishing gear, jackets, hats, gloves, and fleece. Boater, beach bum, fishermen simply love the New England coast. This is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, now in 2 locations, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Back to school means back to busy, and Stewart's Market can save you precious time by stocking all of your favorite essentials under one roof. For a healthy start to school, we have all the ingredients. Walter Stewart's, your family-owned fresh local market, 229 Elm Street and at stewartsmarket.com.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Rob Adams, Donald Eng. As we kind of wrap this this edition up, it ran a little bit longer. We're into overtime at this point, and a little more football than I intended. But I said to you we'd easily go 20 minutes on football.
Right. Yeah. So apologies to cross country. We will get you tomorrow though, because tomorrow we're going to be very heavy into the cross country, especially with the boys and girls, and the championships coming up later on this week on the HAN Network.
Absolutely true. We will do a lot of cross country tomorrow. We'll run a couple of interviews from our FCAC tour. We'll also try to catch you up on the standings and pretty much where we sit in field hockey and basketball. Basketball. Field hockey and soccer, as well as keeping an eye on volleyball also, because we'll have the volleyball championship coming up in early November, so all that to keep in mind as well. So, and yes, the cross country championship on Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network from Waveney Park in New Canaan. So come on out and see the whole crew then. And lastly, just a moment on this. I have to. And if you watched I did a little Periscope on my own personal account before the show. So if you happen to see it, and you can find me at 55 on Periscope as well as on Twitter. But Don happens to be a big Kansas City Royals fan. He's also a minor fan of the other New York team. But anyway, Royals are looking pretty good.
They really are. The starting pitching is better than it was last year, presumably without big game James Shields giving up 5 runs every 6 innings.
Yeah.
It's been exciting. I've the team never quits on itself. I may have quit on them, particularly when they were down when they were down 6-2 in the 8th. The emergency Cabernet might have made a guest appearance, and then they continually surprise me. So much like the Trinity Catholic Crusaders, you heard the coach say it. You can't measure heart.
No, you really cannot measure heart. You also cannot measure. Well, there's another thing you can't measure, and we had a couple of plays on the wider world that were just ponderous, as a wise man once said. How would you like to be going to Michigan today?
Well, let's see. So does that mean I'm 25 years younger?
Okay. As a fan, how would you like to be a Michigan fan today?
I don't know. That is going to go down as one of the most infamous losses in history. It's going to be right up there with the Stanford band game.
Yeah. The Iron Bowl.
Considering that I'm one of those kids that kind of grew up in the infancy of ESPN, watching Aussie football on TV at 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
I would almost swear that he tried to make an Aussie hand pass. That's what it looked like to my eye, anyway.
And finally, from the Department of God-Awful Plays, and I like Chuck Pagano a great deal, what the heck was that last night against the Patriots?
Why did he snap the ball?
I still don't know. I don't think anybody knows why they snapped the ball.
Why did you snap the ball? It had no chance of working.
Still don't know. So anyway, those couple of little nuggets we wanted to throw your way. And yes, the Mets are in great shape, up 2 games to none. I really want the Cubs to get back into that series. I want good baseball. I have no real dog in the fight. So I want some white knuckle baseball. I want some game 7s, and I want drama.
Yeah, I mean, it's if it's going to happen, it's going to have to start. It's going to have to start tomorrow. I can't imagine they're going to fight back from 3-0 down. So, the conventional wisdom is you're not in trouble until you lose a home game, and in this case, the home teams are 4-0 in the league championship series. So, we'll see what happens.
You're talking about
that's baseball.
That's baseball for you, Susan. You're talking about 4 teams, one that has not won since '93, since '86, since '85, and since 1908.
Back in 08. That's a long drought.
Somebody's going to win a championship. All that said, cross country tomorrow, some soccer, some field hockey, some volleyball. We'll catch up on everything. No show Wednesday because of the FCAC Cross Country Championship. That'll do it for a long version of Nutmeg Sports. Thanks for watching here on this Wednesday edition. Coffee break gets your day started tomorrow, 11 o'clock. The Drive with Denise Cooper Goldie comes your way at 12:30 as well. For Donald Eng, I'm Rob Adams. You enjoy your night, enjoy your afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow. So long, everyone.